This episode of the Home Impodcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/homeimpodcast. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Now on to the show.
Lions just recovered a fumble.
Bits of wisdom.
It's Harry Houdini, I'm pretty sure.
That's when it kind of becomes Home Improvement After Dark.
I guess that leaves us at the question of the week.
Very good. I don't know if you noticed, Jordan, but a really cool aerial shot of the table. Reasonably funny.
User review.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Home Impodcast time.
Well, that's right. Binford Tools is proud to present a Home Improvement Podcast. My name is Adam, and you all know my co-host, Jordan Lyons.
I thought you were going to say the Breakfast of Champions.
I didn't. I never know exactly what to say. I think that shows on a weekly basis. Jordan, how are you this morning?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Adam?
I'm doing well.
Besides some hooligans outside that make me close my window.
Yeah, they play those kids and their darn rap music, Jordan.
It's too loud.
You'd
be
like
hearing it on the mic right now.
You're like the St. Cloud version of Clint Eastwood, just standing there.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, grimacing. Get off my lawn.
I don't really, actually, since, we live in a townhouse, we don't really have a lawn, so.
Oh, yeah, living in an apartment complex, I don't either. I mean, technically the whole complex is my lawn, if you will, but...
And that's how you act.
At least that's what I tell myself, yeah.
You're walking around, hey, get off.
I have no problem, decorating other people's porches and windows and just kind of basking.
Telling them what they should do with their car and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I tell people where to park, pretty much on the reg.
Jeez. Oh, man.
So, Jordan... I think we're just going to get into an article we found. We'll save the banter for, another episode. We found an interesting article, and we kind of wanted to discuss that. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I suppose it is. It'd be funny if I said no.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so, Adam.
This article is from Decider.com, published January 5th, 2018, so that's this year, relatively recently. Written by Brett White. Title, Mom Power, Home Improvement's Jill Taylor is the best sitcom mom of all time.
Enough said, right?
Enough said, so let's not even get into it. No, this is an article, written relatively recently, and it's well written. I like it. It speaks very positively of Jill. And
the show, really.
Home Improvement, and you don't often get those kind of pieces written about Home Improvement. So,
no, we talked
about...
Good. We talked about this a little bit before we started, and, a lot of the stereotype response about the show Home Improvement is that it's misogynist and nobody likes it, and it's all about men, and, there's three boys and Tim, and
yeah.
But this article makes some good points about how on the staff there's more women than there typically was at this time, and Jill, as a well-rounded, interesting character, she can hang with the boys, but she's also the moral compass of the Taylor family. So it's a good article for the show. Yeah,
people look back on Home Improvement as being a show where Tim Allen just kind of makes, I don't know about crude, but baseline kind of observations about women and does the shrill female voice. And hey, look, we talk about this show every week. Yeah, that happens from time to time, but there's more depth and dimensions to it than that. And yeah,
you got to put it in its context, people.
Yeah, I agree. Context is important. During the show's formative first two seasons, 8 women, Marley Sims, Allison Gibson, Susan Estelle Jansen, Sheila M. Anthony, Rosalind Moore, Laura Eve Anderson, Maxine Lapidus, and Stacey Herr, wrote 21 of the first 49 episodes. So in this article, it says, no wonder Jill feels like my mom and every mom I knew growing up. A team of women made sure she got the character development down. So yeah, and I agree. And, this notes, yeah, exactly like you said, she does cook and clean and do kind of more stereotypical things, but also she calls Tim out. She is a caring mother. She doesn't let her kids walk all over her. I like the section where it comments on how she just kind of laughs, a lot, where she just things will happen and she will laugh and kind of act more naturalistic and not so plot driven in terms of how a lot of like TV moms are just sort of there to further the plot or service their husbands or their kids. But she has her own stuff going on. She gets a job with the magazine, and eventually she'll go back to school. And I liked this lens. It's not something we see very often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we'll share it on the blog so that if you want to take a read yourself, you can, and see exactly why we loved it so much in detail. Because it is long. It's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. This is a long form article that you could spend hours just diving into all the details and what they're talking about, and we just covered a little bit. So
yeah, Jordan, would you say we hit the tip of the iceberg?
I mean, if that.
Yeah, if that. There's a lot here. So yeah, We'll link it on Twitter, and give it a read. There's also a lot of good GIFs, so keep that in mind.
I mean, what's not to love?
And there's an article on the right saying Netflix broke TV's boner barrier with Easy. So if you don't like this, or you think this is a little bit too saccharine, you can click on that and get something a little.
I was thinking that maybe it was one of those.
Is it one of those clickbait?
Yeah, one of those ads that was tailored to you specifically, but I also I also went to the website, and it is
to both of us, I guess. Yeah, that would be unfortunate if it was the work of some sort of an algorithm. But hey, Jordan,
thank goodness it's not.
Algorithms bite, and you know what? Reality bites too. So what are we covering this week?
Oh man, that's a great segue. We're going to be covering episode 73, which is Reality Bites. Yeah, so this was written by two people who they're only going to write one episode, and they wrote, it's weird because they came through and they wrote one episode of Camp Wilder, Full House, and Drew Carey, and then they got out of there. And they did the same thing here. So it's very strange.
They're a writing team?
They're like assassins. They're hired assassins, and they come in, they write an episode, and they just get out. So they did, I should say their name, Matthew Miller and Barry Nedler.
Ooh, yeah.
This is
the boys.
The one and only here. Aired May 18th, 1994. The title reference is a reference to the movie, I think it's 90s movie as well, with Winona Ryder, Ethan Hawke, and Ben Stiller. It's a fresh out of college dramedy. I've never seen it, but you have?
Yeah, it's not especially good. It's one of those movies where I think people of a certain generation probably have a fondness for it, because maybe it's about they get out of college and like they don't really know what to do with their lives. It kind of thinks it's important, but really it's sort of whiny. One of those. But
it sounds a lot like us.
Think we're important, but actually whiny.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe. Ask the person that gave us 3 stars on iTunes. Maybe that's their summation.
Yeah, why didn't they write why they gave us 3 stars?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. If you're going to give somebody anything less than 5 stars, you better have an explanation for it.
If you're that person who gave us 3 stars and you're still listening, just write us an email. I'd like to know why.
It's probably those dudes that started the other Home Improvement podcast and then stole our domain name and
now defunct.
And then gave up doing Home Improvement podcasts. It's probably those losers.
That's been a thorn in your paw for months and months and months. If I ever meet those guys in a dark
alley, they better watch themselves. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, so let's get away from all this like angst and I don't even know what the word is. There's just a lot of bad energy in the air right now.
Reality bites. So
all right,
what's kind of playing into that?
You said you have 5 alternative titles, correct?
Yeah, I do.
And they're all really, really good, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I have 4.
5 best I've ever had.
Yeah, I have 4 this time, so I guess you can bookend us like usual.
All right. Title is Reality Bites. First one is Tims are from Mars, Marks are from Venus.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of your best ones ever. Okay. I don't want to say anything mean because I know mine are bad too.
You better be careful.
Yeah, I'm trying to be careful. I'm treading water here myself. So, all right, first one, Cyber Sorry.
Yeah. All right. Next, Molly's Game, which is a play on a movie that is currently in theaters. Good movie. Aaron Sorkin.
Oh, I thought you were thinking Ender's Game.
No, Molly's Game.
All right, mine's also Molly related. So, The Folly of Good Golly Miss Molly.
Yours are bad. All right. Randy.
Those always work for me. All right. Tim's Space Struggle.
All right. Here's one. This is Major Tim to ground control.
Yeah, I like it. My last one is Dr. Taylor, Mr. Lied.
It's pretty good. All right, this is my last one. This episode bites.
You don't like it, huh?
I mean, it's actually okay, but it just was an easy title to come up with. So.
All right. No goofs or no trivia, unfortunately. So I guess I'll just move into the plot synopsis, huh?
Let's do it.
Guess who wrote this?
Skagari 66.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had seen.
Uh-oh.
Confession. I got another confession.
All right. Randy starts a romantic correspondence with a woman in St. Louis on a computer bulletin board.
Bulletin board? No.
I've never heard of a computer bulletin board before.
I don't think so. Scary. How old are you? 40,000 years old?
I guess so. Presenting himself as a 32-year-old dermatologist rather than a 12-year-old. But his bluff is endangered when she decides to come meet him. Meanwhile, Tim helps Mark with his science project, but has to fight the urge to do it himself. Also, Tooltime gets a visit from the crew of the Space Shuttle Endeavour.
There are a lot of moving parts to this episode, and Skagari, he addresses that in his little summary there. Yeah,
That's right. So let's get into it. Let's walk through this episode.
Shall we take a casual stroll through Reality Bites?
Yeah, and we ought to, salute everywhere.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and start us off with our salute to the ladies.
All right, so we open on Tool Time. The logo is there looking buff, kind of how you like it, with the arms and the legs and stuff.
He didn't look that buff. He looked pretty regular. He looked more like, you as opposed to me.
Ouch.
Savage.
So fit and trim. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay. So Tim starts off by saying it's the salute to saluting, and then he starts saluting like crazy.
Oh,
it's
it goes on so long.
It's very strange. And really, that's, it lacks certain logic, and that's how the opening scene is going to be in general.
Those two guys, that's their trademark. You said they come into every episode. Well, every episode they start off with a kind of a bit of salute humor. So if you watch Drew Carey in Full House, you'll see that as well. It's their like the Wet Bandits, Sticky Bandits, these guys do a lot of salute bits.
The Salute Bandits.
Yeah.
All right. So, but really, it's the salute to Binford Tools for Women. So all these tools have little pink edges to them, I guess you could say. And they're all lighter tools, lighter for the ladies. They're colorful. And then Heidi comes out with a tool purse for women who are at fancy galas and stuff.
Yeah, she's wearing a gown.
She's wearing a nice evening gown. She comes out. She opens up this bedazzled purse, and inside is all of these weird small tools to help with broken heels and needle nose pliers for your nose hairs and all this stuff. And I'm just wondering, what woman is actually going to use this?
Yeah, I don't know if is it even a real product, or is it just kind of a
and as you get towards the end, I'm kind of wondering if this whole scene is just a joke, because the last thing they show is women. This is something for women who aren't good with tools, and it's a blow up doll that kind of looks like Tim.
Tool Man and a Toad. Yeah, I think probably up until the Tool Man and a Toad, it's probably real product. But I mean, I don't know. If you can buy the Tool Man and a Toad, I'd like to buy it.
I mean, did you look on eBay?
I haven't looked yet, but should we pause? No, I'll look after the episode. Yeah, and that's the cold open. It's
freezing.
It's as cold as ice. Yeah, the humor is cold. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Does it? It salutes the ladies, much like our Decider article on Jill, but I don't know that it does a lot. It doesn't really do anything in terms of the rest of the episode.
And it's not about anything else later on. Yeah. So whatever. There are ladies later in the episode, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably what they're going for. Yeah, there are women in the rest of the episode, so it does tie in. All right, we transition
not to women, but to two little boys.
Couple little boys. Little boys in the bedroom. Brad enters and Randy is on the computer. Doing homework, wink, wink. No, he's not. He's actually talking to Molly.
On that computer bulletin board.
He's pinned up a message for her.
I hope other people aren't reading it on that bulletin board.
Yeah, it's weird. This whole plot line is strange, and they address it in a strange way. He's I don't know what
Can I say I kind of love it?
You can say that.
I kind of love this zany plot line. It's real good.
It's out there, yeah. I mean, like, I don't really know, like, what he's doing or what he thinks he's doing, or, like...
You're going to tell me that you didn't, when you were younger, get onto, like, chat rooms online and
I
100%
got into chat rooms, but this is a little bit more in-depth than that. I mean, he's, like,
yeah, this is a whole romantic relationship.
Yeah, he's corresponding with a 32-year-old woman named Molly. They're exchanging love letters. He's taken his father's old love letters to his mom, and he is repurposing those. That's also quite strange. I mean, he's reading those and then typing it out. It's
also strange that Molly kind of likes him.
Oh, she really likes him. I don't know if Randy is getting some sort of pleasure out of this or exactly what his agenda is, but he's masquerading as a 32-year-old dermatologist, and I was just wondering, who in their dreams is a 32-year-old dermatologist? I mean, like, if it's me, I'm maybe like a basketball player or like
Randy
a tech mogul.
Incredibly well. I mean, that's the weird thing. So he's a 32-year-old dermatologist. Weird, and then like the rest of him isn't weird. It's like the things that you said you would call yourself. Like he's 6'4" and has a Ferrari.
Drives a friggin' Ferrari. Yeah.
He had to throw something in there to make it seem reasonable, maybe.
Yeah. Brad thinks it's strange, as anyone would, and I mean that's pretty much how the scene ends, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's some good lines I like in here. Like, instead of saying, you know, he says he's 6'4" and has a Ferrari, and Brad says that you're 4'6" and drive a Schwinn.
Pedal a Schwinn,
Pedal a Schwinn. I like that.
Yeah.
You know, Randy thinks he's free in the clear because she lives in St. Louis. She's never going to come to visit him.
Yeah.
And it's got a real shop around the corner, You've Got Mail vibe, but it's not going to work out quite the same.
I tried to do a You've Got Mail title. I couldn't come up with anything. Yeah.
Besides You've Got Email, and that's just silly.
I didn't even think of that. That would have been better than half of the ones we actually came up with, I would say.
Oh, I thought about that one, but I thought it was too much low-hanging fruit.
No such thing for us.
I was trying to think of something about the shop around the corner, the original, but couldn't.
What's
do
that? I don't know what's that reference.
It's an old movie with Jimmy Stewart that all that stuff is based on, and it's actually really good. It's like a top 30 film of all time. You should see it.
They have email in that movie?
Well, it's mail correspondence, but that's what all this stuff is based on.
Oh, wow. See, I thought you were going to try to tell me that Jimmy Stewart was emailing in that movie, and I was going to say, wow.
In the 30s.
Yeah. Randy comes home. He needs styrofoam balls.
Randy comes home?
Leave it there. Rather, I wrote Randy. Mark comes home, and he needs styrofoam balls for a science project.
Now leave it there.
Just leave it there. Yeah, he just needs some styrofoam balls. Tim wants to help him with the project.
Science project?
Yeah.
What science project did you make? That's what I want to know.
None.
You didn't do any? I had to do one in 6th grade. I made a terrible volcano that was like painted gray because we had gray paint on hand. It didn't look like any volcano you've ever seen.
Your dad is a painter, and you only had gray paint on.
He must have used it recently at a house, and it was left over. He's like, "Here, take the paint."
He wasn't able to shell out for a some orange for the fire or any kind of I can't think of any. I'm sure that I have.
6th grade.
Science was probably my least favorite subject in school. No, I wouldn't say probably. Science is my least favorite subject. To this day, I'm not especially interested in science. No disrespect.
It shows. Things that you tweet on your personal account.
Anything.
You're always talking about flat Earth and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think global warming is fake. Flat. The Earth is flat. I don't believe in greenhouse emissions, anything like that. No, it wasn't a subject that I did especially well in.
It didn't enamor you like the poetry always did.
Yeah, I'm a poet at heart. I think anybody that listens to this show recognizes that. No, so I don't remember any science projects.
Didn't you write a poem a long time ago on this show? Was it a poem or a song?
I mean, probably.
I think you made a poem for anyone who wrote a review.
iTunes reviews, yeah, and I probably sang a song as well. So yeah, I mean, there's left brain and there's right brained, and I'm whichever one is more English based. So Tim wants to help Mark out with the science project. Jill says you shouldn't because you'll just want to take over. Tim says no, I won't. and I'll clue you in on what happens. He eventually does take over. He's lying. He does want to take over. So
yeah, and he immediately after saying that, he takes Mark aside and is trying to make it complicated about, how long these things should be, like the distance between the sun, how big the sun should be, all that kind of stuff.
My question to Tim was, hey, Tim, why'd you have to go and make things so complicated? That's what I wondered right away.
Avril Lavigne. They should have had that playing in the background.
I don't know why they didn't.
I don't
Next
either.
scene, take it.
Outside, we're working on that solar system, and Tim is trying to guide young Mark here. Tim at first doesn't know how many planets there are because there's so many like little styrofoam balls, and so he makes like a Yugo joke and some other car jokes.
I thought for sure they were setting up a Uranus joke. Like, I was as sure of that coming as I've probably ever been of anything on this show. Like, I was just
they like to keep us on our toes. Tolls too. They like to
Tolstoy literary.
I was gonna say they're charging us to watch this show. We gotta go. They did
really
not
thought that was
coming.
coming. Yeah, I know.
You
they
did. You said that on the live stream, right?
Yeah, man. I don't want to reuse my bits, but yeah.
Well, I'm just, if people aren't aware of this live stream that you're doing, we just want to make it known.
Yeah, so. 18 people seem pretty aware of it. Yeah.
But we do have more than 18 listeners, so
just a few more though. Not too many more.
22.
Yeah, Tim is he's bossing Mark around, kind of being. I would say he's being kind of a jerk. He's not.
Mark is struggling,
Tim
can't handle it.
He has no patience. When Mark is bending the wire, I think that should go on his acting reel. I mean, it is just some of the most convincing wire acting I've seen in a long time. I would assume there's probably some pretty good wire work in this new P.T. Barnum Greatest Showman on Earth movie, but Mark's wire work is got to be superior.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but can you tell me your top 3 wire acts of all time?
Yeah, okay, easy. 1. Batman and Robin movie with Chris O'Donnell. He's doing some good wire work in that. 2,
The Matrix?
In-Sync, No Strings Attached music video. They are
really
marionette puppets. 3,
The puppets from the Santa Claus.
Jordan, you asked me to answer this question.
Sorry,
so
I'm just guessing. I'm just making sure you're considering all 3 of these.
The Joseph Gordon-Levitt film Man on a Wire, based on the true story of the guy that walks across buildings in New York City.
Can I say just how incredible it is that you have at least 3 of
you could have said 10 and I would have probably been able to do it. So
well, I'm gonna save our audience from listening to that. But
I think let's do a spin-off bonus episode. Wire moments, greatest wire moments in film and television history.
Men on a Wire.
I mean, this is as good as any of those wire moments, though. Really good. Belongs on his reel. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, why they need to bend this wire. Is there not any straight wire anywhere?
Yeah, what is he bending the wire for? There's no bent wires later on, is there, in the finished product?
No. He's unbending it, basically. Oh. He's making it straight. That's what the struggle is.
That's what the struggle is, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. But it was good. I really enjoyed watching it. It'd be a good boomerang. I think I'm going to boomerang it.
Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, I mean, Mark initially starts painting. He can't do that well, so Tim takes over, and then we talk about the wire, and then that takes over that. So eventually Tim relegates him to just watching the paint dry, making sure it dries effectively.
That's about as exciting as this scene was.
Yeah, and then it ends with a doorbell ringing.
Yep, sure does. I mean, take a guess who's at the door. It's
it's Molly.
It's Molly. She's an attractive woman. She's supposed to only be 25. She looks much older.
Yeah, lower 30s, I would say.
Keep talking, I'm going to find out. It's important.
It's important to Adam that we know this. So she comes in, she says, "Is Randy here?" And Jill comes to the door as well. Basically, first Tim is like startled by her beauty and just continues to shake her hand.
I mean, let's also get it straight. She's not, she's. I guess
she's no Aphrodite.
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah, his tongue is hanging out and so on. It's as if he's never seen a woman before. I don't know. It's a strange reaction.
Remember that last episode when Jill was like sad because Tim was objectifying her? Yeah, he's doing it again.
I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose so.
So he does that right away. Molly comes out with it right away. What she's here for. she's been corresponding with this Randy Taylor, and she even sent software to this address.
Pause. What does that mean?
I'm just wondering what kind of software she sent. Apparently, what Randy must have said, "Hey, I need some software," and she sent it as a gift. Maybe I was thinking like Doom, like the game Doom or something. But maybe
she's sending him like Word or something, or Windows, so he can type the love letters.
Yeah, instead of putting it on that computer.
What's wrong with you? Did you have your first drink of alcohol today?
A little bit. I told you I get hungry at our new recording time.
I guess so. So yeah, she sent him some software. ... I don't know. Jill figures
that's
things
how she
out
knows where the address is. Basically, that's the plot point there.
Jill figures this out really quickly. Like, Jill's like, I think I might know what's happening. I'm thinking, like,
no.
Wow, like, really? That was fast.
Can we say
they let her inside. Like, they are so welcoming of this woman, and I'm thinking, like, she could be crazy. I mean, like, I'm not saying
she kind of is crazy for showing up, I think.
Yeah, but, like, they never play it like that. They just play it like she is kind of, like, a normal woman, almost a victim of Randy's.
This happens to everyone. At least once, I think. That's how they're trying to portray it.
Yeah, they're so chill about it. Like, they just, like, invite her in, and she's, like, a fast friend.
Also, she's not, like, that dismayed at this. Like,
no, she's, like, really... She's like, oh, it happens. Don't be too hard on him. He's just 12. Like, how intimate were these letters is my question.
They sound intimate.
An answer we're not going to get on this TV show. But, yeah.
Randy made such a dumb move to give her out the address.
He had to get that software, though.
It's true. He had to play Doom. I don't blame him.
You're not going to be able to... She can't send software without an address. So it's really as simple as that. I couldn't find out how old she was, so I'm going to have to move on. But I will give you her bio. Molly is played by Joanna Daniels. 15 credits to her name. She has not done much lately. Following Home Improvement, she did an episode of Wings, Mad About You. She was in Jerry Maguire. I feel like a lot of people that are on Home Improvement were in the film Jerry Maguire. She played one of the former girlfriends, presumably in the opening segment. I'm afraid to ask you if you've seen Jerry Maguire. Have you seen Jerry Maguire?
I'm just going to avoid the question and say I think Jerry Maguire... maybe one of these is junior college and one of these is like going to college, so it's like a feeder system.
Yeah. Which one's junior college?
I don't know. All
right. She's also in a short called Double Wide, something called
Now that
Smut.
I've seen.
Yeah, I think I've seen it too. Her last bit of acting was in a short called Collectibles. She played Babs. That was in 2008. So Babs. Joanna is out of the game, unfortunately, but I don't know.
Yeah, she doesn't strike me as a Babs, but I guess we'll never know.
Isn't Babs is Kramer's mom's name in Seinfeld, but I don't think it's her.
We've been talking about TV moms all episode.
Yeah, TV moms on the brain. All right. Henceforth, let's move forward.
So basically, as they're talking to her, trying to get some more information about what these letters are like, Randy portrays his father as accident prone. He says his mom can't cook, which I thought was strange. I thought they sometimes, I don't know. I do see a couple episodes where they say they don't like her food, but...
Well, Molly should have thought that a 32-year-old dermatologist talking about his mom's inability to cook and having annoying brothers would, I don't know, maybe doesn't seem like something a 32-year-old dermatologist would talk about. But
I want to know what business Molly was in town for. So that's how she comes to this house. She just stopped by because she was in town on business.
Yeah, it's sort of like almost Fatal Attraction, or it could go in that direction. Like she's just sort of nuts.
The only weird thing about these letters, though, only weird thing was just the obsession with Sears.
That is like the only weird thing at all. Like in general about the whole situation is just that the letters mention Sears. Yeah. If you had to guess Molly's profession, what would you say? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Pharmaceutical sales. All right, not far off.
She's a trade show person,
Yeah. Right.
Although she's dressed up really nice, so I think pharmaceutical sales make more sense.
All right, so carry on. Where are we? We back in the bedroom? Bedroom, boys?
We're always back in the bedroom with you.
All right.
Back in Randy's room. Randy and Mark's room, I guess now. Not just Randy
Brad's
and Brad.
in it so much that it might as well be his bedroom. Nothing's really changed.
Yeah, he just wants some attention with Randy. He comes in and he's like, play catch with me, and then he badgers his little brother. But we're back in that room. A new message has been sent, and we're going to read it out loud to Brad. So basically, at this point, I at first thought this was written before she had showed up, but correct me if I'm wrong.
No, it's part of the con.
It's part of the plot.
It's it's the con that how Jill always feels a distinct need to prank her sons in a much more elaborate way than is required or called for. This is an example of that.
This is it. They're like, Molly, let's team up here and make them really pay.
I would like to have seen it, the last scene cuts off and they're talking about the letters. I would like to have seen the plan come together. You know me. I love seeing a plan come together.
You do love a plan come together. Yeah. This would have been Ocean's 15 at this point.
I mean, they're coming out with a new Ocean's movie with all ladies, so this could have been something like that. But
it wasn't, unfortunately.
It wasn't, unfortunately.
Yeah, Brad, when I was watching Brad's face as he read this, he's more freaked out than Randy is. Randy's kind of taking it all in stride. But, she has a huge growth that she wants him to look at, which is another reason she wants
basically
to stop
she's
by.
like, I'm coming tomorrow at 3 o'clock, but I can't wait to see you. I have a huge growth I need you to look at. And Randy, whatever.
So, should we be more freaked out that she didn't write this initially and just showed up randomly at the house? Or...
I mean, her showing up at the house randomly is pretty strange. I don't know. I think it's weird no matter how you slice it. But Brad has a plan. It's not really it's not so much a plan as just the only option you really have is
But I'm impressed that Brad thought of it so quickly.
He says that Randy has to make sure he answers the door. Just tell her that they don't live here. It's the wrong address. Something like that, right?
Mm. Yep.
They moved out. If he doesn't, Randy's dead. Cue the gravestone graphic.
But then they did step up their graphics on this episode. I mean, there's some planets zooming by, the tombstones. I mean,
that's another trademark of those two writers is they do a lot of salute humor, and then the graphics game has to be on lock.
Graphics,
not me.
And so after this scene, I think we're all kind of in suspense about what's going to happen when this comes together. How will this plan work out? And I was thinking, if you really like suspenseful things, you might like suspenseful books, which leads into our sponsor, Audible. And Audible
has... It's not Crunch Time Cam is a really suspenseful book. Is that what we're talking about?
It's not an audiobook yet, but, be sure that in a few months when it is, that it will be part of the Audible promotion that we have. But if you want to read a suspenseful book on audiobook, you can go to audibletrial.com/Home Impodcast. Get a free trial and a free book. Over 180,000 titles on there. Some of them are suspenseful, probably.
Yeah. I would say, if you want a suspenseful book, Audible's going to have it. And
Gone Girl?
Gone Girl is suspenseful. What are other books that the author has done? I've read them.
All Harry Potter books are suspenseful.
Harry Potter books are suspenseful. I'm looking at... I'm actually looking at Michael Caine's autobiography that I purchased.
Very, very suspenseful.
It's called What's It All About? I haven't read it yet, but I have a feeling there's probably some suspense in that. Bill Clinton, My Life is another book I'm reading right now. A lot of suspense there, especially around 1997.
And since you're in the future, you definitely don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, honestly, there's no idea how that might shake out. There's basically just a lot of suspenseful books out there. Audible has them all. They're great. You get a good deal.
You support us.
Let's return to the episode.
Go to audibletrial.com/Home Impodcast.
Do it, please. All right, back to it.
Seamless.
Home. Weird
downstairs.
Weird dialogue about Jill needing a bra.
Funny dialogue to me.
You go ahead and talk about it because I.
All right. So Jill is
funny.
setting the table, and Randy is trying to basically make that plan work that Brad came up with. So he's trying to get her out of the house, and she says, "Maybe you should go shopping. I heard you need a new bra," which is very awkward.
It's very strange.
She's like, how do you know that, and why are you in? And so he says that Dad told me. He says, I'm not sure that Dad should be talking about that kind of stuff with you. But he continues to go on, says, you should try on all the bras, make sure they fit and look nice. It's very, very strange, but I got a good laugh out of it.
No, nothing funny about it, Jordan. Perverted, if anything.
After he saw that photo in the last episode, all he could think about was her bra.
Stop. Oh, Jordan, that's dark for you. It's like something I would say. All right.
It's cloudy outside, and it's really changing my
partly cloudy
whole
with
persona.
a chance of meatball. You. All right. right, let's head outside to the fence.
Holy crap. Let's. And we should play a clip just to get, back on track here. What do you think?
We have to, yeah.
I finished painting my son.
Mark, Randy, or Brad?
Ooh, funny, Wilson, funny.
Well, Tim, I just hope you get a better grade on Mark's solar system than you did on Randy's volcano.
Mark's been helping a lot. See this perfectly bent rod here?
Mark bent that?
No, I bent it, but he handed it to me.
Tim, I'm reminded of an ancient Chinese proverb. Give a man a fish, and you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime.
If I let Mark do this all by himself, he's going to learn more than if I finish it myself.
Very good, Tim.
Yeah, but Chinese proverbs aren't going to win any science fairs. If I let Mark do it all by himself, there'd be no craftsmanship, no attention to detail, And he's the son of the tool man. What would people say?
About Mark or about you?
I get it. But there's one thing. If I let Mark do it all, I won't get to glue anything.
So Tim has finished painting the sun here. Wilson observes, that Tim again is working on one of his kids' science projects, and his, metaphor to teach Tim a lesson is, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, but if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. So, I think it goes without saying what that means.
It doesn't really relate to the situation, though.
Sure it does.
Okay, explain it to me.
So if he teaches Mark how to accomplish these things, he'll be able to take those skills and problem-solving ability to solve all sorts of things later on and do it himself instead of just doing everything for him.
I mean, yeah, sure. But this is more related to just like a science project where he's bending wires and putting planets in an orbit. I don't know that that's a life skill per se. I can't do that. And hey, here I am hosting this podcast, so I guess I've done pretty well for myself.
I think, yeah, you're right. I think it's more about problem solving than just the specific task. But
I buy it, but I don't love it.
But then Wilson goes deeper
Had to.
because that's the way he rolls. And so, Tim says, what would people say if Mark's project turned out badly? And Wilson says, what would they say about you, or what would they say about Mark?
Yeah.
Cutting right to the core.
Yeah. Powerful stuff, really.
And then Mark comes out, and
Hey, Dad.
we learn a really important thing about Mark in this scene. He has a friend named Bobby.
I didn't catch that.
And I was confused. That's what made this episode not realistic to me.
Mark has a friend. I'm going to Bobby's to eat the rest of the paint.
See, this is exactly why you need to teach him how to paint so that he doesn't eat the paint.
That's true. We're never going to get that actor on this podcast. What's his name?
Taron Noah Smith?
Yeah, we're never going to get Taron Noah Smith on this podcast if we keep talking like that. All right, Tool time. This really came out of nowhere for me.
No, solar system.
I know. I got it after the fact, like how they're related, but it's a very specific.
They should have mentioned this at the end of the cold open.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, we have a group of astronauts. It's the crew of the Endeavour shuttle. And they just happen to be in Detroit for what, George?
Probably that same conference that Molly's at.
Yeah. Pharmaceutical sales.
Yeah,
I have some information on the Space Shuttle Endeavour.
Please.
Space Shuttle Endeavour Orbiter Vehicle Designation OV-105 is a retired orbiter from NASA's Space Shuttle program and the fifth and final operational shuttle built. It embarked on its first mission, STS-49, in May of 1992, and its 25th and final mission, STS-134, in May of 2011. The United States Congress approved the construction of Endeavour in 1987 to replace Challenger, which was lost in 1986. Challenger is the one that I believe tragically...
It is.
Destroyed in space.
That one and Columbia.
Yeah, so this was a direct result of that. It's interesting. The last flight, 2011, first flight, 1992. Retired and now displaced at the California Science Center in Los Angeles, California. 25 missions, 173 crew members total.
We talk about some of the cool people that they have in this show. I find this way cooler than the Andrettis, I guess.
It is more interesting than the Andrettis, and you can tell these guys are real astronauts because they have no stage presence at all.
What about Bower Socks?
Oh, man. So, this is, there's a lot of astronauts. They're just kind of going one by one here, and they don't like Tim's humor at all, particularly Bower Socks. And I'm glad these guys are here. It is cool to have these guys as opposed to Vila or the Andrettis or any other person they might come up with. But like Tim makes the astronaut joke, and then Bower Socks comes in and says, "It's pronounced astronaut," and I'm just thinking like, what are we doing here? You know,
but then it works out really well because he says he didn't get the joke and he looks very sullen. It's great.
I think he was in a play in 8th grade and he came in with the crew and he's like, "Hey guys, let me do the heavy lifting here because I have some acting experience."
And they move on from Bower Socks to Story, who loves the show, and Tim makes a low-hanging Story joke. Jeff loves the show more, though. Jeff says they grunted in honor of the show in space. Mm-hmm. This can't be real, right? They show a clip.
It's definitely just like stock space footage that they,
and then they grunt
voice over grunts. Yeah, Whew. It'd be funny if it was. I mean, I didn't see it on the Wikipedia page, so
I googled it and couldn't find anything. But
did you really?
Yeah, I was like, this can't be real, right? But you never know. You never know. Those astronauts.
Home Improvement was a really popular show. So I mean, they had Gerald Ford a while ago, or was that Jimmy Carter?
Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter. I mean, there's so many episodes.
One president is the same as the next.
He's just a peanut farmer. He's just a simple peanut farmer. So yeah, they grunt in space, and they're basically all roasting Tim.
Any advice for the science fair project that his son is doing?
Don't let your father help you. He's a foreign fellow.
It also was sad because it said, he said sun in the middle, 9 planets, but Pluto's not a planet anymore.
I heard it was again.
Oh man, I heard it wasn't. We gotta do some research. This is important. Is Pluto a planet?
I thought that Pluto has officially been reclassified as a planet, April 1st, 2017.
That's great news.
It. Oh, yeah.
Wait, April 1st, April
Adam's
Fools.
Here. Adam doesn't know it. Oh. All right, let me recheck that.
April 1st.
Let me just make sure there's another one. News.
All right, I'm going to go to Wikipedia, see what we got here. I'm not getting a lot here.
It is oddly vague on the Wikipedia page. Like, why can't anyone just say whether or not it is a planet?
All right, after extensive research, we found some not so clear information that it seems like Pluto is not a planet. It's a dwarf planet.
Mm-hmm,
so
just disappointing.
Yeah.
Sure.
So if you're outraged or upset, I'd appreciate it if you tweet at us.
In this outrage culture, Jordan, people are going to be pretty PO'd about this Pluto thing.
Yeah. I can't believe that they would post something on April 1st and make a mockery of everyone. Make a mockery of it.
That's so embarrassing for me. But I said I don't know science, and it turns out I don't. But all right, let's wrap.
So why are the astronauts even on this show? You're wondering?
Yeah,
because they're going to do a space tool exhibit, and
it sounds dumb. Like, I mean, it seems stupid in the moment, but hearing you say it sounds even dumber.
Yeah, I don't know.
A space tool exhibit.
A space tool. I mean, they've got some cool things there that they use on the space shuttle and on the Hubble telescope and all that good stuff. But it looks like one is missing, and that's because Tim stole it. And the astronauts kind of enclose around him and force him to put it back, or they will presumably murder him.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to take him to space and, just let him go like gravity,
Perfect. So, that's the end of Specialty Tool Week.
All right, let's hit the climax of this episode. Reality Bytes climax. Things have got to come to a head here, and Randy needs to, take his medicine, be given his comeuppance, and I think we're going to share that via clip.
Hi.
Hi, can I help you?
I'm looking for Randy Taylor.
There's no Randy Taylor here.
And who are you?
A kid.
Strange. Dr. Taylor's got to be here because I just sent him something to this address.
He moved out yesterday and we moved in today. Bye.
I don't see any moving boxes.
Well, we're a circus family. We unpack fast.
Did Dr. Taylor leave a forwarding address?
No, but he mentioned joining the Peace Corps in China.
Seems very strange.
Well, not really. They're having a big acne epidemic in Beijing.
Hi, Randy. I'm back.
Randy?
She means Andy. I'm Andy.
Who's this?
Hey, I'm Molly Loudon. I was looking for Randy Taylor.
Well, this is Randy Taylor.
Randy, Andy, Candy, Sandy. I answered anything.
Now, this is really weird because I have been getting love letters from a Randy Taylor, but he's much older than you. He says he loves me almost as much as his cast iron scroll saw.
Wait a minute. Cast iron scroll saw?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I know what's going on here.
You do?
My husband always used to write about a cast iron scroll saw in all of his love letters to me. He must be writing you love letters and then just signing our son's name.
He never told me that he was married. But it doesn't matter because I love him and he loves me.
I should have seen this coming when he started hating my bras.
Mom, you don't understand.
Hi, honey.
Don't hi, honey, me, you two-timing tool twit.
What'd I do?
You don't have to play dumb. Your wife knows all about us.
Us?
You can just take your tools and move in with Molly.
No, Mom.
Who's Molly?
I am. Now kiss me like you said you would in your letter.
I don't know what I said, but what the heck?
Hey, Dad, stop.
Mind your own business. Mind your own business.
Look, I'm the one who wrote the letter. I used your old love letters. I was just trying to have a little fun.
Are you having a little fun now?
Not particularly.
The jig's up, Dr. Taylor.
You guys set me up. You knew about this all along.
That's right, Doc.
Can't believe I was outsmarted by my parents.
The doorbell rings, and it is Molly. And Randy is quick to answer. And as far as he's concerned, he's there home alone. So thus far, the plan is working out. So Molly enters and she says, "Hey, it's a con. They're conning him." But she says, "Hey, is Randy Taylor there?" He says, "No, he moved. We're a circus family. We move quickly. That's where all the boxes are put away." She's not buying it.
She just comes right in.
I know, it's bizarre. Around the same time, Jill comes in through the garage. This was the most bizarre thing because if they're trying to con Randy, Jill should be surprised that there's a 25-ish-year-old woman randomly in her house with her son. But instead, she's like, "Who's this? Who's your friend, Randy?" Just like it's run of the mill.
Run of the mill 25-year-old.
Just run of the mill situation for the Taylors. Molly explains the situation, and Jill. This is where things really take a turn. Jill pretends that she thinks Tim is having an affair with Molly. So her assumption is that that Tim has been taking his old letters for Jill, repurposing them, and signing Randy's name at the bottom, which would make no sense in actuality. So basically, she orates that she believes Tim is having an affair. Which, I don't know, doesn't that seem kind of cruel? Kind of mean to Randy? He thinks he's breaking up his parents' marriage?
I mean, when this doctor gets in trouble for malpractice, they nail him.
Yeah. I don't know, this seemed like a step further than maybe was required, but
that's kind of the way that Jill rolls. We know that by now.
Yeah, she holds no bar,
But also, her acting is so obviously, bad. It's just funny. If Randy wasn't so scared in this moment of what was happening, then he would pick it up pretty quickly.
Right, yeah. Tim enters, and Molly goes over, and she, acts as if he is Randy. They kind of embrace, and Tim acts like he's going to kiss her, and the marriage is over, and Randy stops and confesses, and that's they got him. They roasted him.
He can't believe that he was outsmarted by his parents.
They're just trying to have a little fun. That's all Randy was trying to do, just have a little fun.
A little fun, yeah.
Which is a little bit weird.
Randy is Randy.
Yeah, Randy. They got him, and in the end, it's all just they pranked him, and it's all just fun.
I think everyone learned a good
time.
lesson here.
Yeah, I think so.
I think everyone did.
They're all just standing there, kind of smiling, and it's tonally it's an odd ending for the episode, but there's one final scene here. Side yard.
Yeah.
Project is done. Mark got an A. He didn't need his father to help him.
Boy, he's really coming on in the last couple episodes. He can win all these video games. He does great science projects.
He has a friend?
He has a friend? I mean, who is this Mark?
Wow, new Mark, new year. Does he put in the warp speed, or did Tim?
It's. I think he says Tim does it, but then he says chip off the old block like Mark did it.
That's what I was
it's
wondering.
Confusing.
So basically there's warp speed, but the teacher wouldn't let him do it because she was afraid that Tim had something to do with it and it would be catastrophic. Well, they test out the warp speed at home, and the planets go flying. Chip off the old block. The two share a grunt together, which is
adorable.
The best way to end a Home Improvement episode. Roll credits, fade to black, reality bites.
There is a very short final scene that's, the space shuttle people.
Isn't
the crew.
Isn't it bloopers, though?
No, it's not bloopers.
I don't watch it.
They actually give memorabilia to the Home Improvement cast and crew. So it's got like a patch from outer space and all this, a flag from outer space and all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool, but not related to the plot.
Yeah. All right.
So that's it. Episode 73, Reality Bites.
Highs and lows, Jordan.
Okay, so I actually liked this episode. Like, I actually enjoyed watching it twice. Barry and... Was it Mark? Barry and Mark? Or Matthew. Barry and Matthew, as, an original plot line for the show, so something a little bit different. I thought Randy freaking out at that last scene was actually pretty good acting by him. And, I just laughed at Jill playing it up, and there's some good lines earlier on that Brad says, the Schwinn line, stuff like that. So I just thought it was something different, something original. Having the astronaut people on, the crew on, was pretty cool, and the tools, I think, for me, would be interesting, but they don't actually focus on any of that stuff or do anything with that stuff. So, and the astronaut actors are, like you said, pretty poor. Another low for me is the opening scene that really is just, I don't know why it's there, and it doesn't set up anything, and it's kind of lacks any sort of logic. But, the rest of the episode kind of lacks a lot of logic, so I guess in that way it does make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, overall I enjoyed it. It was something different, something we haven't seen. Randy gets a prominent role, and I always like that. What did you think, Adam?
Yeah, all right. So I heard you say something about astronauts, and I would say that this was not one of my favorite episodes. I've been sitting on that for a couple of minutes now. Good to get off my chest. I don't know. I think maybe I'd built this one up too much in my head.
Expectations.
They were too high, definitely. I wasn't interested in the astronaut stuff really at all. I know that you thought that was cool.
Well, you hate science.
Hate science, disregard science, don't believe a lot of science, frankly. So yeah, that was just not interesting to me. I thought that the humor in that was pretty stale. Those guys couldn't really act, which isn't so much a problem, but like the jokes that were surrounding the whole thing, just, I don't know, everything felt kind of forced, and I just was not interested in that section. In terms of Randy and Molly and that whole thing, yeah, I like the idea. I don't know. I just felt like the whole thing could have been heightened a little bit more. I wish that we had maybe not known that there was a con in place and that she would have shown up, and maybe we would have actually thought that Jill believed that. I think that would have made it a little bit better. But Molly shows up so quickly. Jill and Tim immediately kind of figure out what's going on. And I thought that just kind of deflated the whole episode, because later on, then, watching Randy sweat was, I don't know. It
didn't have the impact that it would have had if we knew.
Right. I agree with you that his acting is pretty solid in that scene. But yeah, I just would have liked that to have been. There would have been a little bit more build up to that. I don't know. In terms of the opening scene, I would say poor. What else we get? Tim and Mark. Not really that interested in that. So
you're not interested in Mark as anything, though.
As a character, I'm not especially interested in Mark. No. but I'm, maybe in coming seasons that will change. I'm hoping so. But yeah, I don't know. The main idea, I agree with you. It is nice to see these writers coming in and trying something different. I just didn't like how they tried it, I guess. So it's okay. I was just a little bit disappointed, I think.
Okay. All right, so a little bit different views there. Let us know what you think, how much you liked Reality Bites or didn't like it. You can reach out to us. This is Sean's social media corner, I should say, before we move into it. But you can reach out to us at thehomeimpodcast.com. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/homeimpodcast. We're on Twitter at homeimpodcast. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so for free by leaving a review. You can do so for as little as $1 a month by going to patreon.com/homeimpodcast and investing in us that way. Or you can go to audibletrial.com/homeimpodcast and sign up for a sweet, suspenseful book. Adam, what's happening on Twitter?
Twitter, a lot going on. So as you mentioned, I did post a live stream of my commentary of Reality Bites, so that's available. I might do that again. We'll see what happens. Took a picture of a sign at the dollar store. I had to pick up some notebooks. It said "More Power." I commented that Dollar Tree and Tim Allen are very simpatico. People seem to love that. Poll this week: how many cupcakes is too many to make? The fact that there was more than one vote on this one warmed my heart a little bit. We came away with 12 votes. One of my better polls to date, I would say. I think you'd probably agree with me there. So this is related to the thousands of cupcakes that Jill had to make in last week's episode. Final results, Jordan. How many cupcakes is too many to make? 0% said 2 dozen. 8%
seems manageable.
8% said 3 dozen. 17% said any. 75% said thousands are too many to make. So pretty logical, I would say.
I'm frankly a little shocked that other answers were answered instead of thousands, but, some people probably aren't into baking at all.
It's crazy. Other things that I retweeted, Tim Allen posted a short video about a Tool Time, a Home Improvement reunion clip that I tried to find more information on it, but it looked like they did a, live Home Improvement on stage a couple years after the final run. I mean, that's what he was talking. Did you watch the video? Probably
I
not.
did not, no.
But that's what he was talking about happening. So if there was any footage of that, I'd really like to see them do a live show of that. Patricia Richardson is marred in some kind of a dispute with a local art gallery that is holding her paintings hostage or refusing to give her paintings back.
What?
Yeah. So you could follow her for more information on that. I didn't retweet it, but I did come across it, and I thought, this is interesting. Tim Allen took a picture with Jim Caldwell on December 17th while he was still the Detroit Lions head coach. It's a nice photo. Jim Caldwell's since been fired. The Lions are going to hire an inferior candidate to Jim Caldwell. So that's disappointing. They've really
you and I are both disappointed.
They've really botched that search. Perhaps they should have waited a year or not fired Jim Caldwell at all. This is not related to Home Improvement. But it's on social media.
Angry Lions fans.
Just something I'm upset about. So yeah, follow us at Home Podcast. Reach out to us. That's a good way to get a hold. And I'll keep posting things as long as people keep interacting. So
you just live for the fans.
Love it, live it, like it. All right, moving on.
All right, Adam, do you have a question for me?
So many. Okay, Jordan. So this episode revolves around the solar system, much like the solar system revolves around the sun, you might say. So I'm wondering, Jordan, what's your favorite planet?
Ooh, man, that's a great question, actually.
Thanks, Jordan.
Really good. I think Venus, perhaps. I've always been fascinated by it because it's so Earth-like in size, but so vastly different as far as the atmosphere and what happened on the surface and all that kind of stuff. So that's always one that I've been interested in and doing more research on. But really all of I love astronomy. I took an astronomy class in high school in college, and always take a turn at the what's that planetarium in Flint called? Long Way. I always take a trip there when I'm home if I can, and I just really enjoy that type of stuff.
You take a trip to the planetarium when you're home? You've never gone to that planetarium that I've heard of.
Well, I've seen several shows there, so I just don't tell you because I know you're not interested in science.
When's the last time you went to the planetarium? And be honest with me.
Well, I didn't go there last time, but probably when I was
high school, middle school.
Oh no. Since I graduated college for sure.
All right.
I think probably 2 years ago when I was home. We saw a show on, I believe it was comets.
You're talking the Robert Longway Planetarium, right?
Yeah, I mean, what other planetarium would I be talking about?
It's got to be the Robert Longway. All right.
All right. Tell me what your favorite planet is. I know how much you love astronomy.
I mean, I guess I got to go with Saturn.
Yeah, you love the rings, don't you?
I mean, I love the rings. I mean, you look at me, you can probably guess I'm a Saturn guy because I love the rings. Things I like about Saturn. Well, there's quite a few, Jordan. I like that it's a gas giant.
Yeah.
I like that it lacks a definite surface.
Are you just reading this off of Wikipedia right now?
No, this is stream of consciousness. I like that Saturn's rotation causes it to have the shape of an oblate spheroid that is flattened at the poles and bulges at its equator. And I love the fact that despite consisting mostly of hydrogen and helium, most of Saturn's mass is not in the gas phase because hydrogen becomes a non-ideal liquid when the density is above 0.10 grams per centimeter cubed, which is reached at a radius of 99.9% of Saturn's mass. So that's just a couple things I really like about Saturn.
Wow. Yeah. Incredible.
Cool. Jordan, next week, we are wrapping up season 3. Can you believe it?
Oh, I can't wait.
I feel like we've been doing season 3, and a lot of it has to do with the Christmas episodes and whatnot, but it's been like 6 months. It's insane.
Well, the second half of season 3 has been so much garbage.
Yeah, much like the second half of most seasons. Like, I don't know, I feel like every season, first 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes are pretty strong, and then, it really limps to the final finish line here.
Yeah, much like that advertisement on Decider.com. I'm just, there's a lot of hope coming with a new season in season 4, so we're excited for that. But yeah, what's the last episode called, Adam?
Jordan, unfortunately, it's called The Great Race 2. Although, isn't it the third Great Race? Didn't they do one in the first season? Or am I wrong?
Did they race? I think he was just on the show.
Was
it was Stump the Tool Man or something, maybe?
Okay, yeah, you're right. So we're going to get our... it's our third, but it feels like our 300th Bob Vila appearance, and you better believe there's going to be some good banter, some friendly competition, and I have an inkling that maybe Tim might try to amp up or soup up a car, and things might go awry. But hey, that's just me talking. I don't know. Who am I?
Yeah, I think the Hot Rod's going to make an appearance.
That would be nice. I mean, yeah, you're right. It is. I just saw the storyline. Good poll. And along with that, I think we will continue to do we'll do our season 3 in summation. So that'll be like favorite episodes, favorite guest stars, least favorite episodes, favorite moments, least favorite moments, things like that. So if you have any thoughts on season 3 or memories of the show, then we'd love to hear them, and we can talk about them on the end of that episode. So it'll be a little longer probably than the usual.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, with that, thanks Adam, thanks Audible.
Yeah, thanks Audible, thanks Jordan, thank you for joining me, Jordan, everyone else, and I guess I should say take care.
Take care, everybody.